Hey there, movie buddies! Before we jump into this magical journey, I need you to do me a huge favor. Hit that subscribe button right now. Yes, you, don't just watch and go. If you love movies, fairy tales, or discovering secrets behind the greatest films ever made, subscribing is your golden ticket. Smash that bell too, so you never miss out on our next big breakdown. Trust me, you don't want to be that person who hears about it from a friend later. Let's grow this community of movie lovers together. So hit subscribe, become a true movie buddy, and let's get started. There's something timeless about the story of Beauty and the Beast. Whether you first met Belle in the pages of an old fairy tale book, watched her dance in a golden gown in the classic 1991 Disney animation, or were swept away by the dazzling visuals of the live-action remake, this tale as old as time has a way of finding its way into our hearts. But what is it about this story that keeps audiences coming back generation after generation? And what hidden secrets, fun facts, and astonishing trivia hide behind the magic? That's what we're diving into today, so buckle up, movie buddies. It's time for the ultimate Beauty and the Beast deep dive. Setting the mood. Why this story still matters. Let's set the stage. The legend of Beauty and the Beast is older than most people realize. The first version of the story was written way back in 1740 by French novelist Gabrielle Suzanne de Villeneuve, long before there was a single singing candlestick. It was a sweeping, mysterious fairy tale, much darker and longer than the versions we know now. But it was Jean-Marie Le Prince de Beaumont's retelling in 1756 that trimmed the story, sharpened its focus, and cemented its place in the fairy tale Hall of Fame. Her version is the one Disney would later use as inspiration for its iconic film. But Beauty and the Beast isn't just any old fairy tale. It's a story that's been adapted countless times across cultures and continents. From lavish ballets to opera, and of course to Hollywood, every generation finds something new in its message. That beauty comes from within, and that love has the power to transform us. Did you know? The Secret Life of Beauty and the Beast. All right, movie buddies, let's kick things up with some jaw-dropping trivia. These are the things you can tell your friends to sound like the ultimate film expert. Animated magic. Did you know the 1991 Disney version was the very first animated feature to be nominated for the Academy Award for Best Picture? That's right. Before Toy Story, before Up, Belle and her Beast broke down the wall between cartoon and cinema for good. Behind the curtain, Disney almost gave up on the film. After early storyboards failed to excite studio heads, the entire project was nearly shelved. It took a new creative team and some revolutionary animation techniques, including the now legendary ballroom dance sequence using cutting-edge computer graphics, to save the day. Easter eggs galore. Keep your eyes peeled. Disney animators loved hiding little nods to other movies in the background. For example, in the village scene, you might spot characters from The Hunchback of Notre Dame or The Lion King hidden among the townsfolk in later Disney crossovers. Voice talent surprises. Angela Lansbury, who voiced Mrs. Potts, recorded the song Beauty and the Beast in a single take, on the advice of the music team who thought her character's warmth would come through best without overthinking it. That performance went on to win an Oscar and melt hearts everywhere, from animation to live action. When the live-action remake hit theaters in 2017, it brought new stars into the Enchanted Castle: Emma Watson as Belle, Dan Stevens as Beast, and Luke Evans as the perfectly pompous Gaston. The film paid homage to the original, but also added its own flavor with new songs and deeper backstories. A global sensation, Beauty and the Beast has been translated into dozens of languages, from French, its homeland, to Swahili, and has inspired everything from ice shows to Broadway musicals. The Broadway show ran for over 13 years, one of the longest in history. Why is this film so special? Okay, let's get real. What makes Beauty and the Beast stand out in the crowded world of fairy tales and animated classics? For starters, it's a landmark in animation history. The 1991 film used pioneering technology that pushed the art form to new heights. Just look at the way the camera spins around Belle and Beast during their iconic dance. Animators blended hand-drawn artistry with early computer graphics, setting the stage for everything that came after. Then there's the music. Alan Menken and Howard Ashman's score isn't just memorable, it's legendary. From Be Our Guest to Gaston to the title track, the songs are part of our cultural DNA. The film won Academy Awards for Best Original Score and Best Original Song, but more than that, it made singing along at the movies feel magical again. But maybe the most special thing is Belle herself. Unlike some earlier Disney heroines, Belle is smart, independent, and dreams of adventure. She reads books, challenges bullies, and refuses to let anyone tell her who to love. For generations of fans, especially young girls, she's been a role model. Proof that you can be kind and courageous, smart and strong, all at once. Global anticipation and social media. Buzz before the live-action remake even hit theaters, the hype was unreal. The trailers broke YouTube records, fan theories exploded across Twitter, and everyone was debating who would play the iconic roles. Beauty and the Beast merchandise flooded stores, from dolls to designer dresses. Even celebrities couldn't resist sharing their excitement online. When opening weekend finally arrived, fans around the world packed theaters, many dressed as their favorite characters. It was more than a film release, it was a global event. What's next? Movie Buddies. So, Movie Buddies, Beauty and the Beast, is more than just a fairy tale. It's a phenomenon, built on centuries of storytelling, groundbreaking artistry, and a message that never goes out of style. Remember, if you haven't hit that subscribe button yet, now's your chance. Join our family of film fans and get ready, because next up we'll be exploring the full story, the emotional highs and lows, and the secrets behind every enchanted rose petal. Once upon a time. Opening the tale as old as time. The story of Beauty and the Beast is one that begins, as all the best fairy tales do, with the echo of Once Upon a Time. But before we even meet our beloved heroine or the mysterious beast, we are drawn into the world with a prologue. A story within a story, setting the emotional stakes and planting the seeds for everything that follows. The prologue, a lesson in vanity and redemption. The very first moments of the animated classic, and its live-action remake, open with a lesson. We're shown a young, arrogant prince who rules his castle with an iron fist and a cold heart. One stormy night, a ragged old beggar woman arrives at his door, seeking shelter and offering him a single rose in exchange. Disgusted by her appearance, the prince turns her away. Not once, but twice. But this is no ordinary beggar. She reveals herself to be a powerful enchantress, beautiful and formidable, and punishes the prince's cruelty with a curse. He is transformed into a monstrous beast, his servants turned into living household objects, and the once grand castle plunged into shadow. The enchanted rose the woman leaves behind is no ordinary flower. It will bloom until the prince's 21st year. If he cannot learn to love another and earn their love in return, before the last petal falls, he will remain a beast forever, and his servants forever cursed. This opening is more than exposition. It's a warning about judging by appearances and the consequences of a selfish heart. Right away, Beauty and the Beast sets itself apart from other fairy tales. Here, the monster is not a villain, but a tragic figure, and the story's true villain is pride. The village, Belle's world, and the stage of everyday life cut to daylight, and the world could not be more different. We're transported to a tiny, picturesque French village, a swirl of color, sound, and bustling life. The Belle sequence is not just an introduction to our main character, but a masterpiece of animation and musical storytelling. Meet Belle, more than a bookworm. Belle, the film's heroine, is immediately presented as someone who doesn't fit in. With her nose in a book, she drifts through the town, dreaming of adventure, faraway places, and much more than this provincial life. The villagers watch her with equal parts fascination and suspicion. She's beautiful, but odd, and her love of reading sets her apart in a town where curiosity is rare. What makes Belle iconic is her agency. She doesn't just wish for a different life, she actively seeks it. She refuses to marry Gaston, the town's preening hunter and local celebrity, despite the pressure to conform. She cares for her father, Maurice, an eccentric but loving inventor who is the only other outsider in the village. Belle isn't waiting to be rescued. She is clever, compassionate, and brave, a role model for viewers of all ages. Gaston, the villain with a smile. Every good fairy tale needs a villain, and Beauty and the Beast gives us Gaston, a man as physically perfect as he is morally empty. Gaston is adored by the townsfolk, but he's arrogant, shallow, and utterly incapable of real love. He wants Belle for her beauty alone, seeing her as a prize to be won, not a partner. Gaston's presence is comic at first. His song is a tongue-in-cheek celebration of macho ridiculousness. No one fights like Gaston, douses lights like Gaston. But as the film progresses, his obsession with Belle grows more sinister, making him one of Disney's most memorable and most human villains. The Townsfolk, chorus of ordinary life. The villagers play a crucial role, both as comic relief and as a chorus, reflecting the prejudices and limitations of their world. Their suspicion of anything different is a recurring theme. They think Maurice is crazy, they gossip about Belle, and they're easily manipulated by Gaston. They're not evil, but their conformity and fear of the unknown set the stage for the story's central conflict. Into the Woods, Maurice's journey and the turning point. The real adventure begins when Maurice, lost and seeking shelter, stumbles into the enchanted castle. Here, the tone shifts, from the sunny, bustling village to the shadowy, mysterious corridors of a forgotten palace. The enchanted castle. A world transformed. The castle is both magical and melancholy. It's filled with talking objects. Lumiere, the candelabra, Cogsworth the clock, Mrs. Potts the teapot, and Chip the teacup, who provide comic relief but also hint at the sadness beneath the enchantment. They long to be human again, and they pin their hopes on Belle as the one who might break the curse. The Beast, meanwhile, is a figure of tragedy. Once a handsome prince, now a monster, he is isolated by both the curse and his own anger. When Maurice trespasses, the Beast's fear of hope and of being hurt drives him to imprison the old man, a decision that will set the rest of the story in motion. 4. Belle's sacrifice. The heart of the story. When Belle discovers her father's predicament, she races to the castle, determined to rescue him. In a moment of true selflessness, she offers to take Maurice's place, sacrificing her freedom for his. The Beast is stunned. He's never encountered such bravery and compassion. Belle's choice marks the first real crack in the wall he's built around his heart. From this moment, the relationship between Belle and the Beast becomes the story's emotional core. Unlike many fairy tales, their connection isn't instantaneous. It grows, stumbles, and is tested by anger, misunderstanding, and fear. Woo! Love grows in unexpected places. Belle and the Beast's journey. At first, Belle and the Beast are adversaries. She is furious about her captivity. He is awkward, gruff, and often frightening. Their early interactions are filled with tension, misunderstandings, and missed opportunities. The castle's enchanted objects, however, are determined to play matchmaker. convinced that if Belle and the Beast can fall in love, the curse will be broken. Small moments, big changes, slowly, trust begins to build. The Beast saves Belle from a pack of wolves, a turning point that shifts the balance from fear to gratitude. Belle, in turn, tends to his wounds, showing kindness even when she's afraid. They share books, meals, and moments of laughter. These small acts of empathy and connection begin to soften the Beast's anger and awaken hope within him. The gift of the library, a symbol of understanding. One of the most beloved scenes in the film is when the Beast gifts Belle his library, a gesture of respect and recognition of her passions. It's not just a grand romantic gesture, it's an acknowledgement of who she is and what she loves. It's the first time anyone has truly seen and valued Belle for her mind and spirit, not just her beauty. The ballroom scene. Love in full bloom as winter gives way to spring. The relationship between Belle and the Beast blossoms. The iconic ballroom dance, set to the title song Beauty and the Beast, is a masterclass in animation, music, and emotional storytelling. Here, love is not just spoken, but shown, in the way they look at each other, the way they move together, and the way the entire world seems to pause to witness their connection. This scene is the emotional climax of the story, the moment when hope returns, and the possibility of breaking the curse feels real. 7. The mirror and the dilemma. True love's test. Just as happiness seems within reach, the story throws its greatest test. Belle's father, lost and sick, is in danger. The Beast, recognizing her love for Maurice, sets Belle free, choosing her happiness over his own, even if it means he will remain a beast forever. This act of selfless love is the true measure, or of his transformation. Belle races back to the village to save her father, but their return brings Gaston and the angry mob to the castle gates. 8. Gaston's revenge. The battle for the castle. Driven by jealousy and fear, Gaston riles the villagers against the monster in the castle. The final confrontation is intense and heartbreaking. A battle not just of swords and fists, but of love and hate, fear and understanding. Gaston's obsession ultimately destroys him, while the Beast, wounded and vulnerable, is saved only by Belle's return and her declaration of love. Transformation and redemption. The curse. Broken. In a dazzling moment of magic, Belle's love breaks the curse. The Beast is transformed back into a prince, the castle and its inhabitants restored to their former selves. The themes of redemption, forgiveness, and the power of love are brought home in a scene that never fails to move audiences to tears. Happily ever after. A new beginning. The story ends as all the best fairy tales do, with hope, renewal, and the promise of happily ever after. Belle and the prince, no longer defined by their appearances but by their hearts, lead the castle and its people into a new era. Subtext, symbolism, and what sets Beauty and the Beast apart now. Movie buddies, let's go deeper. What makes Beauty and the Beast more than just a love story? Why does it resonate across generations, cultures, and even different film mediums? The rose, a symbol of time, hope, and fragility. The enchanted rose at the center of the story is more than a plot device. It's a symbol of how precious time is and how love must be nurtured before it's too late. Each falling petal is a reminder of mortality, of the consequences of pride, and of the hope that springs eternal. The mirror. Seeing with the heart, the magic mirror allows Belle and the Beast to see beyond appearances and even beyond physical boundaries. It's a symbol of true vision, seeing with the heart, not the eyes. Transformation. Beyond surface beauty. The story's central theme is that real change comes from within. Both Belle and the Beast are transformed, not just physically, but emotionally and spiritually. The Beast learns to love and to let go. Belle learns the value of empathy and sacrifice. And, movie buddies, before we go any further, don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. You know we're just getting started, and you do not want to miss the movie magic that's coming next. Now, let's pull back the velvet curtain and peek behind the scenes at some of the wildest, weirdest, and most wonderful facts about Beauty and the Beast. 1. Hidden inspirations. From French fairy tale to Disney classic before Beauty and the Beast was a Disney blockbuster, it was a French fairy tale with roots as tangled and intriguing as an enchanted rosebush. Gabrielle Suzanne de Villeneuve's Origin Story, 1740. The earliest known version appeared in 1740, penned by French novelist Gabrielle Suzanne de Villeneuve. Her La Belle et la Bête was not the short, simple story we know today. It was a sprawling tale filled with magic, hidden histories, and courtly drama. Villeneuve's version featured not only a beastly prince but fairy politics, secret curses, and elaborate family backstories. Belle wasn't just a merchant's daughter, but a secret princess, and her journey was a test of character as well as love. Jean-Marie Le Prince de Beaumont's timeless retelling, 1756. A few years later, another Frenchwoman, Jeanne-Marie Le Prince de Beaumont, decided Villeneuve's version was too long for young readers. She condensed the story, focused on the romance and the moral lesson, judged not by appearances, but by character. This streamlined retelling became the template for every Beauty and the Beast adaptation to follow, including Disney's. Her version is why we remember the enchanted rose, the loving, if odd, father, and Belle's choice to sacrifice herself, out of love. Historical context. These stories came out of a time when fairy tales were a way for women writers to challenge social expectations. Belle's love of reading, her independence, and her refusal to marry for anything but true affection were quietly radical in the 1700s and still resonate with audiences today. Development history. From animation gamble to Hollywood legend Disney's. First attempt, the unfinished 1930s project. Walt Disney himself was enchanted by Beauty and the Beast, and in the late 1930s he considered adapting it as a follow-up to Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. However, animators couldn't quite figure out how to make the story work, and the project was shelved for decades. The 1991 animated classic. It wasn't until the late 1980s, at the height of Disney's animation renaissance, that Beauty and the Beast finally got its moment. The early drafts were much darker, closer to the French original, with a more fearsome beast and a colder castle. After poor test screenings, Disney brought in new directors and lyricist Howard Ashman, who was already at work on The Little Mermaid. Ashman, who was battling AIDS during production, poured his heart into the songs and characters, shaping the Beast into a sympathetic figure and the castle's servants into unforgettable comic relief. The film's iconic ballroom scene, where Belle and Beast waltz in a golden glow, was groundbreaking, using early CGI to create a sweeping, immersive camera movement that had never been seen in animation. Live Action Revival, 2017. Fast forward to the 2010s. Disney, riding the wave of successful live-action remakes, announced a new Beauty and the Beast. Starring Emma Watson as Belle and Dan Stevens as the Beast, this version expanded backstories, introduced new songs by Alan Menken and Tim Rice, and updated the film for a new generation. Production involved massive sets, elaborate motion capture for the Beast, and a deeper dive into Belle's inventiveness and the castle's lore. Oscars, awards, and historic firsts. First animated feature nominated for Best Picture. In 1992, Beauty and the Beast became the very first animated film ever nominated for the Academy Award for Best Picture. This was a groundbreaking moment, not just for Disney, but for animation as a whole. Until then, animated films were often seen as just for kids. Suddenly, they were contenders for Hollywood's highest honor: Oscar wins and accolades. The film took home the Academy Award for Best Original Score, Alan Menken, and Best Original Song, Beauty and the Beast. It also won the Golden Globe for Best Motion Picture, Musical or Comedy, making it the first animated film to do so. Impact. This recognition paved the way for the creation of the Best Animated Feature Oscar, which didn't exist at the time, and signaled that animated films could be every bit as emotionally rich, artistically daring, and culturally important as their live-action counterparts. Famous cast changes, scrapped scenes, and Disney Easter eggs casting surprises. Paige O'Hara as Belle. O'Hara was chosen for her warm, sincere voice. She reportedly won over Disney's team because she sounded like someone who actually read books. Many famous stars auditioned for Belle, but O'Hara's blend of intelligence and heart won the day. Beast's many voices. Robbie Benson gave the Beast his tragic soul. Fun fact: his growling, monstrous voice was achieved by speaking his lines and then layering in animal sounds, a creative choice that made the character both fearsome and vulnerable. Emma Watson as Belle, 2017. The live-action casting sparked global buzz. Watson, famous for Hermione Granger, brought a modern, feminist twist to Belle, insisting on making her an inventor in the new script. Songs and scenes that didn't make it. The original cut of the animated film included a song called Human, Again, sung by the castle staff as they dreamed of regaining their human forms. The song was cut for pacing, only to be added back in the 2002 IMAX and DVD releases. In the live-action film, new songs like Evermore were added to deepen the Beast's character, giving him his own emotional solo. Deleted scenes included a darker, more tragic backstory for the Beast and early versions where Gaston survived and returned for revenge. Disney Easter eggs. The animators had fun hiding nods to other Disney films. Look closely and you'll find Mrs. Potts and Chip in later movies, and some of the townsfolk bear a suspicious resemblance to other Disney characters. In the 2017 film, keep an eye out for book titles and background paintings. Many reference classic Disney tales and French. Art Angela Lansbury, Mrs. Potts. Her legendary recording of Beauty and the Beast was done in one magical take. Lansbury was worried her voice wasn't right for the song, but composer Alan Menken insisted. Her performance brought everyone to tears, and it's become one of the most beloved moments in Disney history. There you have it, movie buddies, a peek behind the curtain at the inspirations, challenges, and magic that made Beauty and the Beast a legend. And this is just the start. If you're loving these secrets, smash that subscribe button, share your favorite fact with your buddy, and get ready. Next up, we're breaking down the box office numbers and the legacy that followed. Don't go anywhere. Before we dive in, remember, if you love discovering the secrets and magic of movies, hit that subscribe button. Become a movie buddy and let's make this the best film community on YouTube. Now, let's talk about why Beauty and the Beast isn't just another fairy tale. It's a landmark in cinema, a game changer for animation, and a cultural event that still echoes today. Its place in Disney and cinema history. Beauty and the Beast is much more than a beloved movie. It's a moment that redefined what animation could be, and it's a milestone that changed the course of Disney forever. The Disney Renaissance pinnacle. The late 1980s and early 1990s are known as the Disney Renaissance, a golden era that saw the studio return to critical and box office dominance with films like The Little Mermaid, Aladdin, and The Lion King. In the midst of this revival, Beauty and the Beast arrived, not just as another hit, but as the very heart of this new era. It was the film that proved, beyond a shadow of a doubt, that animated movies could be sophisticated, emotionally deep, and every bit as serious as live-action films. It was a time when Disney was experimenting, pushing boundaries and betting big on stories that resonated with both kids and adults. The result? Beauty and the Beast didn't just entertain audiences, it earned their respect, admiration, and awe. Historic Oscar moment. When the film was nominated for Best Picture at the 1992 Academy Awards, it wasn't just a win for Disney. It was a triumph for the art of animation, a declaration that animated films could compete with the best of live-action cinema. This nomination broke the animation ceiling, inspiring studios and animators around the world to reach higher, dream bigger, and tell stories with the same depth and ambition. A universal fairy tale, Beauty and the Beast, is a story that transcends its origins. With roots in 18th century French literature, it's been retold, reimagined, and reinterpreted in every medium imaginable. Disney's version, however, managed to capture the fairy tale's core, transforming it into a modern myth, accessible and moving for audiences everywhere. Unique artistic choices, animation breakthroughs, live-action visuals, and costume innovations. The magic of Beauty and the Beast doesn't just live in its story, it's in the way the story is told. This film pushed the limits of animation, pioneered new techniques, and delivered visuals that remain iconic decades later. Groundbreaking animation. The original 1991 film was the first Disney animated feature to use extensive computer-generated imagery, CGI, to complement traditional hand-drawn animation. The ballroom sequence is the most famous example. While Belle and the Beast are traditionally animated, the camera swoops and spins around them thanks to a fully computer-generated environment. This marriage of old and new created a sense of depth, movement, and immersion never before seen in animation. Other artistic risks included experimenting with light, shadow, and color to create emotional atmosphere. Notice how the castle changes. Gloomy and cold under the curse, warm and golden as love blooms. These visual cues subtly guide our emotions, pulling us deeper into the story. Character animation, expressive, human, and heartfelt. Animators paid meticulous attention to the characters' facial expressions, body language, and acting. Belle's curious tilt of the head, the Beast's bashful glances, the comic timing of Lumiere and Cogsworth, all these details made the characters feel real. Supervising animator Glenn Keane, responsible for the Beast, famously drew inspiration from gorillas, lions, and even his own dog to create a creature that was both intimidating and sympathetic. Live-action adaptation, raising the bar. Again. When Disney announced the 2017 live-action remake, expectations were sky-high. Could they recapture the magic in a new medium? The answer, for many fans, was a resounding yes. Visual effects. Dan Stevens performed the Beast using a motion capture suit, his expressions digitally mapped and rendered in post-production. This allowed for a blend of human performance and CGI magic, making the Beast's transformation and emotional journey even more powerful. Sets and production design. The castle was a blend of physical sets and digital augmentation, inspired by real French palaces. Designers painstakingly researched period details, from architecture to art to household objects, to bring the enchanted world to life. Costume and makeup. Belle's yellow gown, one of the most iconic costumes in film history. The live-action version used layers of silk and organza, embedded with subtle gold leaf patterns. Costume designer. Jacqueline Duran drew on both historical French fashion and the spirit of the original animation, making a dress that felt both classic and modern. Beast's look. The challenge was to create a creature who could inspire fear, pity, and ultimately, love. The team used prosthetics, digital effects, and subtle makeup to give him a human soul behind the fangs and fur. Innovations that inspired generations. The film's artistic choices have echoed far beyond Disney animation. Students study the ballroom scene as a milestone in cinematic technique. Costume designers reference Belle's gown and the enchanted castle's lavish details in everything from theater to cosplay. The movie inspired the look and feel of theme park attractions, Broadway musicals, and countless fan tributes. Global. Anticipation, viral trailers, and iconic merchandise. A worldwide event from the start, Beauty and the Beast wasn't just a movie. It was a cultural event. The 1991 film was released in dozens of countries, quickly becoming one of Disney's highest-grossing animated features ever. But it was the build-up to the 2017 live-action version that really showed the film's global power. Viral trailers and social media frenzy. When the first teaser trailer for the live-action film dropped, it broke YouTube records, amassing millions of views in hours. Fans analyzed every frame, debated casting choices, and recreated the trailer in home videos. Social media lit up with memes, reaction videos, and trending hashtags. Be Our Guest and Ikigu's Beauty and the Beast challenge among them. Advance ticket sales broke records. Fans dressed as Belle and the Beast lined up at midnight premieres, and celebrities shared their nostalgia and excitement online. For a generation raised on the animated classic, this was the return of a legend, and the introduction of a new chapter for younger fans. Iconic merchandise and collectibles Beauty and the Beast has spawned a merchandise empire. Toys and dolls. Belle dolls have become a staple in toy stores worldwide, with new designs for every major adaptation. The Beast, Lumiere, Cogsworth, and even Mrs. Potts are favorites for collectors young and old. Costumes. Every Halloween, Belle's yellow gown is among the most popular costumes for children and adults alike. High-end versions have been sold by luxury designers, and Disney-bounding fans regularly recreate Belle's look for theme park visits. Home goods and decor, from teacup sets inspired by Mrs. Potts and Chip to enchanted rose nightlights, fans can fill their homes with reminders of the story. Limited editions. Disney releases collector's pins, artwork, and jewelry featuring iconic moments, each one a coveted treasure for superfans. Theme parks, Walt Disney World and Disneyland feature Be Our Guest restaurants, immersive meet and greets, and stage shows. Visitors can dine in the ballroom, meet Belle in the castle library, and even see the enchanted rose up close. A lasting pop culture. Footprint Beauty and the Beast isn't just beloved, it's embedded in pop culture. References and parodies appear in shows from The Simpsons to Saturday Night Live. The soundtrack's songs, Be Our Guest, Gaston, Beauty and the Beast, are staples of karaoke nights, weddings, and talent shows. The film inspired everything from viral TikTok choreography to academic papers on fairy tales and feminism. Conclusion: a film that changed everything. Beauty and the Beast is special because it's more than just a film. It's a touchstone for animation, a high-water mark for storytelling, and a wellspring of inspiration for generations. Its artistry, music, and message have influenced not only the Disney empire but the entire world of cinema. Every enchanted rose, every yellow dress, every note of tale as old as time, they're part of our shared cultural memory. So, movie. Buddies. Whether you fell in love with the original animation, the stage musical, or the breathtaking live-action remake, you're part of a global community touched by this tale as old as time. And that's what makes Beauty and the Beast truly magical. If you haven't subscribed yet, now's the time. Become part of our story, share your favorite Beauty and the Beast memory below, and get ready for the next chapter in our ultimate breakdown. There are many reasons why Beauty and the Beast has stayed alive in our hearts for generations. But above all, it's the film's emotional core, its celebration of love, transformation, and sacrifice that makes it a tale as old as time. Beneath the stunning animation and unforgettable music is a story about change, the kind that starts small and quiet, and the kind that shakes the world. Let's dive into what makes this journey so powerful, movie buddies. Love as growth and risk. At first glance, you might think Beauty and the Beast is about true love's kiss breaking a curse, but the story goes much deeper. Love in this film isn't just a reward at the end of a quest, it's the force that changes people from the inside out. Not instant, not easy. When Belle and the Beast first meet, there's no love at first sight. There's anger, fear, misunderstanding. Belle is brave but terrified. The Beast is lonely and lashing out. What unfolds between them is a love story built not on fate, but on choice. Choosing to look past appearances, to be vulnerable, to trust and forgive. Their love grows slowly, nurtured by moments of kindness, a meal shared, a wound tended, a library opened, a dance at midnight. The message is clear. Real love isn't magic. It's effort, empathy, patience, and willingness to change. Love as redemption. The Beast has spent years as a monster, punished for his pride and cruelty. It's only by learning to love and be loved in return that he earns his humanity back. But the beauty of the story is that Belle's love isn't a cure. It's the spark that allows him to change, but he has to do the work. The Beast learns to put Belle's happiness before his own, letting her go when she needs to help her father, even knowing it may doom him forever. This is the ultimate act of love, not possession, but sacrifice. The power of small sacrifices. It's not just the grand gestures, like letting Belle leave, that change the course of the story. It's 100 little moments of generosity and courage. Belle standing up to Gaston to protect her father, Beast tending Belle's wounds and swallowing his pride to apologize, Belle reaching past her fear to thank the Beast for saving her life. Each sacrifice, no matter how small, is a step toward the happily ever after they both long for. Emotional arcs. Belle's journey from outcast to heroine. Belle is one of Disney's most beloved heroines, not just for her beauty or her bookish charm, but for the journey she undertakes. A journey from isolation to belonging, from passive dreaming to courageous action. The outsider. From the film's opening song, it's clear. Belle doesn't fit in. Her village finds her odd. Her love of books is seen as a quirk, and her refusal to accept Gaston's advances sets her apart. In a world that rewards conformity, Belle is an outsider, yearning for something more than this provincial life. But Belle's outsider status is also her strength. Her imagination, her compassion, and her intelligence give her the courage to see the world, and the people in it, differently. Courage and compassion. When her father is imprisoned by the Beast, Belle doesn't hesitate. She trades her freedom for his. This act of self-sacrifice isn't just brave, it's radical. Belle is an active participant in her own story, refusing to be a passive damsel in distress. Inside the castle, Belle faces new challenges. She's frightened, lonely, and often angry at her situation, but she never loses her kindness. She befriends the enchanted servants, challenges the Beast's temper, and, most importantly, stays true to herself. Even when she's afraid, she stands up for what's right. Curiosity and openness. Belle's willingness to see the good in others, even those the world calls monsters, is what sets her apart. She's curious, asking questions, and looking beyond the Beast's fearsome exterior. It's this curiosity that leads to understanding, and eventually, love. When given the chance to escape, Belle does so, not out of selfishness but to help her father. She puts her family first, showing that love doesn't mean losing yourself. It means using your strengths to help others. Heroine's triumph. By the story's end, Belle's arc is complete. She's no longer just an outsider dreaming of adventure. She's a heroine who's changed not only her own life, but the lives of everyone around her. She breaks the curse not by magic, but by living out her values: courage, empathy, and selflessness. In the film's final moments, Belle is celebrated not for her looks, but for her heart. She teaches her village and the audience that real beauty shines from within. Beast's evolution, anger, vulnerability, and redemption. If Belle is the film's heart, the Beast is its soul, a character as tragic as he is terrifying, and whose journey from monster to man is one of Disney's richest character arcs. From Prince to Beast at the film's start, the Beast is barely human. He's bitter, angry, and consumed by self-pity. The curse has made him monstrous on the outside, but it's his isolation and shame that have twisted him inside. He lashes out at Maurice, at Belle, even at his loyal servants. For years, he's believed he is unlovable and unworthy of forgiveness. The pain of rejection. Every falling petal on the enchanted rose is a reminder of his failure, not just to love, but to be loved. The Beast's anger is a mask for his pain, and it takes real courage for him to let someone close again. The first spark. Kindness. Returns. Belle's arrival changes everything. For the first time in years, the Beast is confronted with someone who isn't afraid to challenge him. Belle refuses to cower or submit. She demands respect. At first, this infuriates the Beast, but gradually her presence forces him to reconsider his own actions. It's not an instant transformation. There are setbacks, angry outbursts, misunderstandings, moments where the Beast reverts to old habits. But when he saves Belle from the wolves, risking his own life, we see a glimpse of the prince he once was, learning to love and let go. The true turning point comes not when the Beast realizes he loves Belle, but when he realizes he must let her go. This is the ultimate act of love, putting someone else's happiness above your own desires. When the Beast releases Belle to save her father, he knows he may never see her again. It's an act of pure, selfless love, and it's this choice that finally breaks the curse. Redemption and transformation. In the story's climax, the Beast is wounded, both physically by Gaston and emotionally by the fear that he will die, unloved. But Belle's return and her confession of love transform him. The magic that restores his humanity isn't just a reward, it's a reflection of his inner change. The Beast's arc is one of redemption, not just in the eyes of others, but in his own. He learns to forgive himself, to hope, and to believe that he is worthy of love. It's a powerful message for anyone who's ever felt lost or unworthy. How their stories intertwine. The genius of Beauty and the Beast lies in how Belle's and the Beast's arcs reflect and reinforce each other. Each character helps the other grow. Belle's compassion and courage draw out the Beast's humanity. The Beast's vulnerability gives Belle the chance to prove her strength, not just for herself, but for someone she learns to care about. Both have to let go of their old lives and dreams to find happiness together. Their relationship isn't perfect. It's messy, full of mistakes, apologies, and small victories. But that's what makes it real. Thematic resonance. Why it still moves. Us at its core, the story asks us to believe in the power of love and change, that people can grow beyond their past mistakes. That sacrifice, large and small, is at the heart of every true relationship. That being different is not a flaw, but a gift. The story doesn't promise an easy or magical fix, only that, with kindness and courage, transformation is always possible. Conclusion. Love, change, and the legacy of a tale. As old as time, Beauty and the Beast endures because it's more than a fairy tale. It's a reminder that love is transformative, that everyone is capable of redemption, and that true beauty is found in selflessness and understanding. Belle and the Beast's journeys speak to the outsider in all of us and challenge us to look beyond the surface, to risk kindness, and to believe in second chances. So, movie buddies, as we watch Belle and the Beast find their happily ever after, remember, it's the willingness to change, to sacrifice, and to love deeply that gives every story, fairy tale or real life, its magic. Stay tuned, subscribe, and let me know in the comments. Which moment in Belle and the Beast's journey means the most to you? Up next, let's break down the visual magic and the world building that brought this masterpiece to life. Let's dive into one of the most celebrated aspects of Beauty and the Beast, its craft and style, and then explore how audiences responded, from opening night to modern fandom. This section will cover both the animated classic and the live-action remake, giving your viewers a true sense of the artistry and the waves it made around the world. Craft and style, the magic of how Beauty and the Beast was made. The enduring power of Beauty and the Beast is not just in its story, but in the remarkable way it's brought to life. Both the 1991 animated film and the 2017 live-action adaptation are masterpieces of craft, merging visual artistry, innovative direction, and unforgettable music to create an experience that is, in every sense, enchanting. Animation direction, setting a new standard. The 1991 animated classic. When Disney set out to make Beauty and the Beast in the late 1980s, animation was undergoing a renaissance, but no one expected just how far this film would push the art form. Dynamic direction. Directors Gary Trousdale and Kirk Wise approached the film with a sense of theatricality, using sweeping camera movements, dynamic staging, and bold lighting to heighten every emotional beat. Scenes like the opening Belle sequence feel alive and bustling, while the castle is alternately menacing and magical depending on the mood. The ballroom scene. The crowning achievement is the iconic ballroom dance, where Belle and the Beast glide beneath a sparkling chandelier as the camera circles them. This moment was a game-changer. The first time extensive CGI was seamlessly integrated with hand-drawn characters, creating a breathtaking, swooping sense of space and wonder. The effect is both grand and intimate, inviting viewers into the heart of the fairy tale. Character animation. Each character is a marvel of animation, acting. Supervising animators like Glenn Keane for the Beast and James Baxter for Belle studied everything from wild animals to silent film stars to bring nuance and subtlety to every gesture. Belle's thoughtful glances, Beast's awkward vulnerability, and even Lumiere's flamboyant flourishes all feel natural, expressive, and alive. The 2017 live-action remake. When the story was revisited for live-action, director Bill Condon faced a daunting challenge, honoring the original style while updating it for a new generation, blending practical and digital. The film combined grand practical sets, like the immense castle interiors, with state-of-the-art digital effects. The Beast, portrayed by Dan Stevens, was created using performance capture technology, letting Stevens' real facial expressions and physicality shine through the digital transformation. The enchanted objects were CGI, but designed with a tactile, antique look that nodded to their animated origins. Cinematography and visual design. Cinematographer Tobias A. Schliessler and production designer Sarah Greenwood filled every frame with sumptuous detail, from the candlelit halls to the snowy gardens. The visual language of the film paid tribute to classic French art and architecture while adding new flourishes, like the enchanted forest aesthetic that permeates the castle grounds. Homage and innovation. The live-action version paid homage to beloved moments, recreating the ballroom scene almost shot for shot, while introducing new ones like Belle's inventive gadgets and expanded backstories for several characters. Musical score, the heartbeat of the Tale Few films, are as defined by their music as Beauty and the Beast. Alan Menken and Howard Ashman, a legendary duo. Timeless songs, composer Alan Menken and lyricist Howard Ashman created a soundtrack that has become woven into the fabric of pop culture. Belle, Be Our Guest, Gaston, Something There, and the Oscar-winning title song are each perfectly crafted to advance the story, define character, and evoke emotion. Broadway inspiration. The musical numbers were staged. Like Broadway productions with full ensemble vocals, choreography, and intricate visual gags. Be Our Guest is a riot of color, movement, and joy, an animated feast for the senses, while Gaston is both comic and catchy, with its tongue-in-cheek bravado. Emotional depth. Ashman, who was seriously ill during production, poured extraordinary heart into the lyrics. His work on the film is often cited as his creative pinnacle, and the song's sincerity and wit are a lasting legacy. Musical innovations in the live-action film classic meets new. Menken returned for the 2017 adaptation, reimagining the original score with a full orchestra and recording several new songs with lyricist Tim Rice to flesh out the characters' inner lives. Evermore, sung by the Beast after Belle leaves, became an instant favorite for fans, offering a poignant window into the character's soul. Modern performances, Emma Watson, Belle, and Dan Stevens, Beast, brought a fresh vulnerability to the roles, while veterans like Ewan McGregor, Lumiere, Ian McKellen, Cogsworth, and Emma Thompson, Mrs. Potts, offered delightful new takes on classic tunes. Lasting impact. The title song, Beauty and the Beast, recorded by Angela Lansbury for the film and later by Celine Dion and Peabo Bryson, is a wedding standard and a touchstone for romance in pop culture. The Broadway adaptation, running for over 13 years, featured expanded versions of the beloved songs and new numbers, proving the score's versatility and enduring power. Standout visuals. Moments etched in memory. The visual storytelling of Beauty and the Beast is a masterclass in mood, symbolism, and spectacle. Iconic animated moments. Belle's yellow dress. Belle's shimmering golden gown became a symbol of Disney elegance, instantly recognizable and endlessly emulated in costumes and artwork. The castle. The Gothic architecture, shifting from foreboding to beautiful, reflects the transformation at the story's heart. The stained glass prologue bookends the film with mythic, fairy tale grandeur. Enchanted objects. Each object is distinct and expressive, from the bubbly Chip to the dashing Lumiere and tightly wound Cogsworth. The attention to detail in their movement and design makes the castle feel truly alive. The final transformation. The moment the Beast is transformed back into the prince, swirling magic, bursts of light, the enchanted rose restored, is among the most emotionally charged visual payoffs in Disney history. Live-action splendor. The ballroom, the CGI-enhanced set, with thousands of hand-painted roses on the floor and grand floating chandeliers, created a setting as magical as the animation, dazzling new and old fans alike. Costume detail. Belle's gown, the Beast's regalia, and the townspeople's period attire were all designed with layers of historical reference and fairy tale. Fantasy, earning costume designer Jacqueline Duran an Academy Award nomination. CGI magic. The transformation of the castle, the personality-filled animated objects, and the spell-breaking finale used digital effects that felt wondrous but never overpowered the emotional heart of the story. Audience reactions. A global phenomenon. 1991 animated release critical acclaim. Upon its release, the animated film was hailed as a triumph by critics. It quickly became one of Disney's biggest box office hits and was praised for its innovation, wit, and heart. Awards glory. Its Best Picture. Oscar nomination shocked Hollywood, and its wins for Best Original Song and Score cemented its legacy. Generational impact. For many, Beauty and the Beast defined childhood. Its songs, characters, and lessons about looking beyond appearances shaped a generation's ideas about love and kindness. Live action, adaptation, anticipation, and hype. The 2017 remake was one of the most highly anticipated films of the decade, with trailers racking up record-breaking views and social media abuzz with speculation and excitement. Box office. Smash. The movie grossed over $1.2 billion worldwide, making it one of the highest-grossing musicals and live-action adaptations in history. Fan community. Fans new and old embraced the updated story, celebrated the diverse casting, and debated every change, from costume tweaks to new songs, with passionate enthusiasm, fandom and legacy cosplay, and fan art. Belle's yellow dress and the Beast's regal look are staples at conventions, while the castle and enchanted rose are favorite subjects for artists and designers. Stage and school productions. The Broadway musical inspired countless local theater productions, bringing the magic to communities around the world. Enduring relevance. Even decades later, the film is cited in pop culture, referenced in everything, from sitcoms to wedding vows. Its message, that love, kindness, and courage matter most, resonates in every era. The lasting power of craft and audience. Magic, Beauty, and the Beast isn't just beautifully made. It's a film that changed how we think about animation, musicals, and fairy tales. Its craft and style set a new standard, while its music, visuals, and direction created moments that will live forever. Most of all, the film's audience, fans who laugh, cry, sing along, and share the story, has ensured that this tale is, indeed, as old as time, and as fresh as the first rose petal falling. If you haven't yet, make sure to subscribe to join the movie buddies. Even the greatest craft and artistry need the spark of public response to truly become legendary. Beauty and the Beast didn't just charm its audience, it dazzled critics, fired up the fan base, and set social media ablaze, especially with the live-action remake. Let's rewind and hear what the world had to say. 1. Critic Reviews, A Tale. Praised as old as time. 1991. Animated Classic. When the animated Beauty and the Beast premiered, the critical acclaim was nearly universal. Roger Ebert called it a movie that will be watched with delight long after the current generation has passed on. He compared it to the greatest live-action musicals, noting its sophistication and warmth. Janet Maslin, The New York Times, praised its timeless fairy tale romance, splendid animation, and deft wit. Gene Siskel called it the best animated film ever made in America, while noting that it sets new standards for animated features. The Los Angeles Times lauded it as sumptuous, funny, exhilarating, and Disney's best since the glory days of Pinocchio and Fantasia. It was quickly recognized not just as a children's film, but as a milestone in cinematic storytelling. Critics hailed its emotional complexity, the chemistry between Belle and Beast, and the Broadway-caliber score. 2017 live-action remake. The Guardian described it as a gorgeously mounted, golden-hued delight, especially praising Emma Watson's performance and the expanded backstories. Variety lauded the loving homage to the original, while noting the film's ability to delight a new generation. The Hollywood Reporter highlighted the technical achievements, including Dan Stevens' motion capture Beast, and called it an enchanting retelling. Some critics felt the new version stuck too closely to the original formula, but nearly all agreed it captured the magic of the story for modern audiences. fan comments and generational impact fans have long declared Belle a favorite Disney princess, celebrating her bookish intelligence, independence, and bravery. Quotes like, "I want adventure in the great wide somewhere," are shared on everything from graduation cards to social media bios. The Beast's transformation and the central message, "Don't judge a book by its cover," sparked endless discussion on fan forums and YouTube. The ballroom scene is a staple of top 10 romantic movie moments lists. Parents and grown-up. Kids alike often cite Beauty and the Beast as a movie that shaped their childhood, inspired their creativity, or even helped them feel seen as outsiders. Live action, era, and social media. The announcement of Emma Watson as Belle trended globally, sparking both nostalgia and excitement. The first teaser for the live-action film became one of the most viewed movie trailers in YouTube history at the time, with millions sharing and reacting within hours. Hashtags like Nakuh be your guest and Itiwak Beauty and the Beast Challenge trended on TikTok, Instagram, and Twitter, with fans recreating dances, makeup looks, and even Gaston pub sing-alongs. Viral reviews celebrated the new Evermore song and the expanded diversity in casting. Box office and legacy details. Official box office numbers. The 1991 animated film opening weekend premiered with a strong $9.6 million in the U.S. Impressive for an animated film at the time, especially in a pre-Pixar era. Total gross finished with over $145 million domestic, U.S., and over $440 million worldwide, becoming the highest-grossing animated film of its era until The Lion King arrived. A few years later, record achievements. First animated feature to be nominated for the Best Picture Oscar. Among the highest-grossing films, all genres of 1991. Its IMAX and 3D re-releases each added millions, proving enduring popularity. The 2017 live-action film opening weekend smashed records with a $174 million U.S. debut, the seventh biggest opening of all time then, and the biggest ever for a March release. Total gross topped out at over $504 million domestic and a staggering $1.26 billion worldwide, making it the highest-grossing live-action musical ever and one of the top-grossing Disney movies of all time. International success, huge box office in China, the UK, Brazil, and Japan. The film's story and visuals proved to have truly global appeal. Comparisons and context animation. Renaissance. The 1991 film cemented Disney's return to form after decades of creative ups and downs, joining The Little Mermaid and later Aladdin as defining works of the Disney Renaissance. Live-action dominance. The 2017 remake outperformed nearly every other live-action Disney adaptation, including Cinderella, The Jungle Book, and Maleficent, and set new records for family, musicals, award season. The original scored 6 Oscar nominations, winning 2. The live-action earned nominations for costume design and production design. International success stories and surprising markets. Japan. Both films performed extremely well, with the original helping spark a Disney craze in the 1990s. China. The 2017 remake broke into the box office top 10, marking a rare achievement for a Western musical. Latin America and Europe. Both versions resonated thanks to timeless themes, lush visuals, and universal music. Streaming and re-releases. Disney Plus. Both films are among the most streamed Disney classics on Disney Plus, regularly trending in Most Watched categories. Seasonal re-releases, Valentine's Day, holidays, boost viewership. Home video. The original film's home release sold millions of VHS, DVD, and Blu-ray copies, becoming a staple in family collections. The live-action film similarly performed strongly in digital and physical media. IMAX, and 3D. Each re-release, especially the IMAX edition in 2002 and the 3D in 2012, introduced the film to new audiences, adding millions to box office totals and further building its legacy. Did the hype pay off? Insights and unexpected results. Enduring fandom. Both versions created loyal, multi-generational fan bases. Merchandise, cosplay, stage adaptations, and even college courses study the film's artistry and cultural impact. Critical longevity. The 1991 film sits at 93% on Rotten Tomatoes, the 2017 remake at a solid 71%. Impressive for a remake, given heightened expectations. Unexpected impact. The success of the 2017 film fueled Disney's trend of live-action remakes, greenlighting everything from Aladdin to The Lion King, but few have matched its cultural resonance. Pop culture legacy. From wedding dances to viral memes, Beauty and the Beast is more than a movie. It's a language, a memory, and a touchstone for millions around the world. Conclusion. A phenomenon beyond the screen. From rave reviews to box office domination, Beauty and the Beast isn't just a film. It's an event, a movement, and a living fairy tale for the modern world. Critics, fans, and families all agree. There's a reason this story continues to enchant audiences, break records, and spark conversations everywhere. Drop your own review or best memory in the comments, movie buddies, and don't forget to subscribe. Origins, script, evolution, development, and the filmmaker's vision. From fairy tale to film. Twice. Beauty and the Beast is one of those rare stories that felt destined for the big screen, but its road to becoming a movie classic was long and winding. Twice. Disney's first attempts, 1930s, 1950s. Walt Disney himself was fascinated by Beauty and the Beast as early as the 1930s, fresh off the success of Snow White. However, the story was shelved repeatedly. Animators found the structure tricky, the transformation of a beast to a lovable lead challenging, and the core romance hard to pace. The 1980s Renaissance, bringing the tale to life fast forward to the late 1980s. Disney is roaring back with The Little Mermaid. Studio bosses decide to dust off Beauty and the Beast for a fresh try. At first, the approach is darker and more European, closer to the French roots, but after mixed reactions and development, the film is reimagined as a full-blown musical. Lyricist Howard Ashman, already deep into The Little Mermaid, is brought on board. He insists the story be told as a Broadway-style musical, with songs that move the plot forward and reveal character. Alan Menken, composer, creates a lush, romantic score, one of Disney's finest, turning the tale into a musical Ashman's. Involvement is pivotal. He helps humanize the Beast, develop Belle as a strong, book-loving heroine, and introduce the enchanted servants as comic relief. Ashman's lyrical genius is behind every unforgettable line, even as he battles illness during production. The film's structure is honed to perfection, opening with a storybook prologue, quickly establishing the stakes and launching into Belle's song-filled world. The tight pacing, clear character motivations, and emotional beats are the product of countless rewrites and story meetings. The 2017 live-action revival. For the remake, Disney wanted to both honor the classic and deepen the backstories. Screenwriter Stephen JoshG, The Perks of Being a Wallflower, and director Bill Condon expanded Belle's role, made her an inventor, and fleshed out the Beast's tragic past. They added new songs by Menken and lyricist Tim Rice, creating new emotional highs. The live-action team set out to create a lavish, French-inspired fairy tale with a modern edge, and to make audiences believe in magic all over again. Casting. Stories, from voice actors to Hollywood royalty. The animated original, Finding the Voices of a Generation Belle, Paige O'Hara. O'Hara wasn't the first choice. Many actresses auditioned, but O'Hara's warm, intelligent voice, combined with her experience as a Broadway performer, won her the part. She embodied Belle's mixture of curiosity, independence, and compassion. Casting directors said her audition felt like Belle had stepped right out of the storybook. Beast, Robbie Benson. The Beast is one of Disney's most complex heroes. Robbie Benson gave the character both gravitas and vulnerability. He modulated his voice to sound powerful yet wounded, layering in real animal growls to add a primal edge. Benson's performance is often cited as a masterclass in animated acting. Gaston, Richard White. White's booming baritone and comedic timing made Gaston both hilarious and menacing. His over-the-top delivery in Gaston became legendary, setting a new standard for animated villains. Mrs. Potts, Angela Lansbury. Lansbury initially doubted she was right for the role, but was persuaded to sing Beauty and the Beast in one take. Her performance won the hearts of millions and is considered a highlight of Disney music history. Supporting cast: Jerry Orbach, Lumiere, David Ogden, Stiers, Cogsworth, and Bradley Pierce, Chip, each brought their Broadway and television experience, turning side characters into icons. Live-action adaptation, casting the magic again. Belle, Emma Watson. Watson was Disney's first choice. Her global fame from Harry Potter and her real-life advocacy for women's rights made her perfect for a modern Belle. Watson insisted that Belle be even more independent and hands-on, even suggesting costume tweaks and backstory elements. Beast, Dan Stevens. Best known for Downton Abbey, Stevens brought an aristocratic melancholy to the role. He performed in a motion capture suit, wearing springy stilts to simulate the Beast's massive frame, while his voice was digitally deepened. For a more fearsome effect, Gaston, Luke Evans. Evans' musical theater background made him a natural choice. His charisma, comedic chops, and powerful singing voice brought new life to Gaston. LeFou, Josh Gad. Gad's comic timing and improvisational skills updated LeFou for a modern audience, turning him into a fan favorite. Lumiere, Ewan McGregor. Cogsworth, Ian McKellen. Mrs. Potts, Emma Thompson. A who's who of British acting royalty, the live-action cast poured wit and warmth into their roles, with extensive voice coaching to nail the musical numbers. Performance. Training, singing, dancing, and motion capture magic, animated film. Broadway roots, animation innovation. The original cast was largely drawn from Broadway. Disney's animation acting process meant recording full performances, including facial expressions and improvisations. Then animators would study these for inspiration. Musical numbers were performed as full run-throughs, allowing the actors to bring emotion and timing that carried into the drawings. Live action, raising the bar. Singing, Emma Watson and Dan Stevens trained intensively for their musical numbers. Watson's vocals were auto-tuned for pitch perfection, but she was praised for bringing genuine emotion to classics like Belle and Something There. Stevens' new song, Evermore, required both vocal range and dramatic power. Dancing. The iconic ballroom scene was carefully choreographed over weeks. Watson and Stevens rehearsed with a team of dancers, practicing with and without motion capture gear. Special effects were added later to simulate Belle's flowing gown and the Beast's inhuman movements. Motion capture. For the Beast, Stevens wore a gray bodysuit with stilts, sometimes called beast shoes, to match the character's height. His facial movements were captured using a rig of cameras, allowing animators to map every twitch and expression onto the CGI model. It was a physically demanding process. Stevens spent hours in the suit, learning to move with weight and grace. Behind-the-scenes stories and close calls, Angela Lansbury's iconic recording. The now legendary recording of Beauty and the Beast was done in a single take at Mencken's suggestion, even though Lansbury wasn't sure she could do it. Everyone in the studio was moved to tears. Dan Stevens' grueling transformation. Stevens described the motion capture work as acting in a sauna suit on stilts, often performing on bare sets while imagining the CGI environment. The performance was physically and emotionally taxing, but he was determined to give the beast heart and soul. Costume challenges. Watson's bell gown was designed for movement, using lightweight layers and no corset, to better reflect Belle's independence. Each actor playing an enchanted object spent hours in voice training and rehearsal to match their human and object personas. Conclusion. The magic, before the magic, from the first storyboards to the final curtain call, Beauty and the Beast was shaped by bold choices, innovative artists, and performers who poured themselves into their roles. Whether through pencil sketches, Broadway-worthy singing, or digital wizardry, the team's love for the story shines through every frame. Movie buddies, if you want even more behind-the-scenes stories, funny mishaps, wild auditions, or technical secrets, just subscribe. Animation breakthroughs. Drawing a New Era 1991 Animated Classic. The birth of modern Disney animation. The original Beauty and the Beast arrived at a time when animation was undergoing a revolution. Disney's animators, fresh from the success of The Little Mermaid, saw the opportunity to create something visually and emotionally spectacular. Ballroom scene. Animation meets technology. The film's most iconic moment, Belle and Beast's sweeping ballroom dance, was a true milestone. The Disney team wanted to evoke the dizzying grandeur of a live-action musical, but hand-drawing every frame was impossible. So they turned to the Computer Animation Production System, CAPS, co-developed with Pixar. The ballroom itself was fully CGI, complete with glimmering chandeliers, a golden balcony, and realistic camera movement. Belle and Beast were traditionally animated, seamlessly layered atop the digital background. This gave the scene its famously immersive, swooping effect, wowing critics and audiences and inspiring a generation of animators. Enchanted Castle and Village. The castle was designed as a character in its own right, gothic and gloomy at first, blooming with warmth as the story progressed. The village was rendered in storybook pastels, busy with movement and detail. Animators studied classic French art and architecture for inspiration, giving every shot a lived-in, painterly feel. Expressive characters. Animators relied on close study of facial expressions, animal movement, and even live-action reference footage, actors in costume performing scenes, to make Belle, Beast, and the enchanted objects feel truly alive. Each character's movement and gesture were crafted for maximum emotion. 2017. Live-action remake. Issued de pushing. Visual boundaries. Yin. The live-action film sought to honor the original style while raising the bar for a new era. CGI brings magic to life. Dan Stevens' Beast was created using motion capture, with his performance mapped onto a digital model. This allowed for subtle, nuanced expressions that mirrored his real acting. Enchanted objects, Lumiere, Cogsworth, Mrs. Potts, etc. were computer-generated, but designed with intricate detail, ornate porcelain, brass, and wood textures to look like true antiques. Lavish set design. The ballroom was constructed as a massive physical set at Shepperton Studios in England, inspired by Versailles and filled with thousands of hand-painted faux marble tiles, golden details, and digitally added floating chandeliers and rose petals. The village was built outdoors, featuring cobblestone streets, working fountains, and fully stocked market stalls. The design team worked with historians and French artisans to make every corner feel authentic. The castle combined real sets and digital extensions, allowing for dizzying staircases, enchanted gardens, and shifting magical effects. Production hurdles and innovations, scheduling and technical challenges. Animation teamwork. The original film had to be completed in a tight time frame, just over 2 years compared to the typical 4+ for animated features. Teams worked in California and Florida, passing scenes back and forth across the country. Live-action complexity. The remake's schedule was a puzzle of set construction, CGI pre-visualization, and actor availability. Some scenes took months of planning for just a few minutes of screen time. Dan Stevens often performed on stilts in a 40-pound gray motion capture suit in front of green screens. The ballroom required weeks of dance rehearsals with Emma Watson, and Stevens practicing both with each other and their CGI doubles. Costume design innovations. Belle's yellow gown. In 1991, animators struggled to create the perfect golden shimmer. They used multiple layers of transparent paint to simulate movement and glow. In 2017, costume designer Jacqueline Duran crafted Belle's gown from lightweight silk organza, minus a corset for comfort and realism. Over 3,000 feet of thread and 2,160 Swarovski crystals were used for sparkle. Dan Stevens' Beast costume combined digital effects and a real, velvet-laden tailcoat that had to fit over the mocap suit. Enchanted objects. The live-action props were carefully engineered with animatronics and CGI, requiring hours of testing to ensure every teacup and candelabra had personality. Lighting and Weather Woes, 1991. Animation. Artists painstakingly painted. The shifting light and shadow for scenes like the library reveal and the final transformation, creating mood and drama. 2017. Live action. Exterior village scenes shot in England faced classic British rain. Production paused multiple times for sudden downpours. Interior sets used more than 8,500 candles and hundreds of LED lights to create the castle's magical. Glow. Fun behind the scenes. Facts improvisation. Moments Lumiere's flourishes. Jerry Orbach, Lumiere in 1991, improvised several lines, adding comic flair. If it's not Baroque, don't fix it. Was his own invention. Emma Thompson, Mrs. Potts, 2017. She delivered her dialogue with a Cockney accent after hours of playful experimentation with dialects. Last-minute changes script tweaks. The famous Be Our Guest number was almost given to Maurice instead of Belle until late in production. Song additions. Human Again was written, cut from the original film, then revived for the Broadway adaptation and 2002 re-release. Set design. Belle's library reveal was re-choreographed just days before filming to capture the perfect gasp-inducing moment. On-set friendships. Animated cast, Paige O'Hara, Belle, and Robbie Benson, Beast, became lifelong friends, often reunited. At Disney events. Live-action crew, Emma Watson, Dan Stevens, and Luke Evans, Gaston, bonded over long rehearsal days and frequent dance practices. Watson would reportedly read real books between takes, inspiring her co-stars. Supporting players. The cast of Enchanted Objects, including Ewan McGregor and Ian McKellen, were notorious pranksters, sharing jokes via group chats and even sneaking in surprise cameos on each other's recording days. Surprising details. Ballroom floor. In the 2017 film, over 12,000 square feet of faux marble and 10 glass chandeliers, digitally multiplied for the final cut, created the world's most romantic dance floor. Wolf chase sequence. The animated team hand-animated every wolf, referencing footage of real predators to amp up the tension. In live action, the scene was a hybrid of practical effects and CGI wolves, with stunt performers on harnesses for the action shots. Props and keepsakes. Many cast members kept souvenirs. Emma Watson kept her iconic rose, and Dan Stevens took home a piece of the ballroom floor as a memento. Conclusion. The work and play behind the magic creating Beauty and the Beast, whether with pencils and paint or with computers and costumes, was a feat of imagination, collaboration, and sheer love for the story. The final product sparkles with the sweat, ingenuity, and laughter of its creators. Every frame, every note, and every flourish on Belle's dress tells a story of artists reaching for magic, and movie buddies. That's why this film feels alive every single time we watch. Belle: aspirations, intelligence, and timeless appeal. Belle stands as one of Disney's most beloved heroines, an outsider whose intelligence, curiosity, and compassion set her apart. Aspirations: Belle dreams of a life beyond this provincial town, longing for adventure, knowledge, and a sense of belonging. She reads voraciously, imagining herself in worlds far from the everyday routines of her village. Intelligence: Belle's love of books marks her as odd among the villagers, but it's her resourcefulness and quick thinking that see her through the story's darkest moments. She's not content to be swept along by fate. She makes brave, independent choices, rescuing her father, challenging the Beast, and outwitting Gaston. Why she resonates. For generations, viewers have seen themselves in Belle's struggle to find a place where she can be herself. She's a role model for standing up to bullies, questioning tradition, and believing in the power of kindness. Her compassion doesn't make her passive. It gives her the strength to change the world around her. Beast: the layers of the monster. The Beast is one of Disney's most complex characters, a tragic figure whose journey from anger to vulnerability lies at the film's core. Cursed by pride. Once a handsome prince, the Beast's cruelty and arrogance are punished with a monstrous transformation. The curse is not just physical. It reflects his inner brokenness and the walls he's built around his heart. Complexity. Beneath his fearsome appearance, the Beast is deeply lonely, wrestling with guilt, fear, and hope. His struggle to control his temper, learn empathy, and risk rejection makes him deeply human, even when he looks anything but. Redemption arc. The Beast's redemption isn't handed to him. He earns it by learning humility and putting Belle's happiness before his own. It's his capacity for change and his ultimate act of selfless love that restores his humanity. Gaston: vanity, villainy, and the dangers of charm. Gaston is a unique Disney villain, outwardly perfect, inwardly hollow. All surface, no depth. Gaston is the town hero, beloved for his looks, strength, and bravado. But he's driven by ego, entitlement, and an utter lack of empathy. Dangerous obsession. What begins as comic courtship becomes predatory obsession. Gaston's refusal to accept rejection makes him increasingly ruthless, manipulating the townspeople, and plotting to harm Belle's father. Why he works. Gaston's downfall is a warning against judging by appearances and against unchecked arrogance. He's the monster who hides in plain sight. Maurice, the heartfelt inventor. Maurice, Belle's father, is more than comic relief. He's the emotional catalyst for the story. Inventor and outsider, eccentric, gentle, and creative, Maurice is as much an outsider as Belle. His inventions and daydreams mark him as odd, but his love for Belle is unwavering. Fatherly love. Maurice's courage in facing the Beast for Belle's sake and his tireless efforts to rescue her show, where Belle learned her compassion and bravery, driving the plot. His imprisonment is the spark for Belle's journey, and his presence throughout grounds the fantasy in genuine human stakes. The enchanted objects, personality in every teapot and candle, some of Disney's most delightful characters, aren't human at all. Lumiere, candelabra. Charismatic, mischievous, and always ready to break into song. Lumiere's optimism keeps hope alive in the castle, and his Be Our Guest number is a showstopper. Cogsworth, clock. The rule-bound, anxious foil to Lumiere, Cogsworth's devotion to duty and comic exasperation adds levity and structure. Mrs. Potts, teapot. Warm, maternal, and wise. Mrs. Potts is the castle's heart, comforting Belle and encouraging the Beast. Chip, teacup. Curious and plucky, Chip brings innocence and lightness to tense moments. Others, from the wardrobe to the feather duster, each enchanted object has a distinct personality and role, reminding us of the family the curse threatens to destroy. Actor spotlights, the stars behind the magic page O'Hara. Belle, 1991. Background: a Broadway actress and singer, O'Hara brought intelligence, warmth, and strength to Belle's voice. Career highlights: before Beauty and the Beast, O'Hara starred in Showboat and the Mystery of Edwin Drood. Her performance: as Belle made her a Disney legend, and she's reprised the role in sequels, TV shows, and theme parks. O'Hara remains active in theater and regularly appears at Disney events, beloved by fans for her kindness and wit. Robbie Benson, Beast, 1991. Background: a successful actor since childhood, Benson starred in Ice Castles, Ode to Billy Joe, and other classics before voicing the Beast. Unique performance: Benson crafted a voice both terrifying and tender, combining human pain with animalistic growls. Later, career: Benson became a director and educator, working on TV, including Friends, and writing about his Beauty and the Beast experience. Richard White, Gaston, 1991. Background: a classically trained baritone. White's stage career included roles in Camelot and The Phantom of the Opera. Career note: White's comedic and villainous take on Gaston is still considered one of Disney's finest villain performances. Angela Lansbury, Mrs. Potts, 1991. Background: with a legendary career on stage and screen, Murder, She Wrote, The Manchurian Candidate, Lansbury brought warmth and gravitas to Mrs. Potts. Iconic moment, her recording of Beauty and the Beast, done in one take, remains a musical highlight. Jerry Orbach, Lumiere, 1991, and David Ogden Stiers, Cogsworth, 1991. Background: Orbach, famous for Law and Order and Broadway, gave Lumiere his French flair. Stiers was a veteran character actor, notably MASH, whose droll delivery made Cogsworth unforgettable. Emma Watson, Belle, 2017. Background: best known for playing Hermione in the Harry Potter series, Watson brought real-world intellect and activism to Belle. Unique touches: she championed making Belle an inventor, chose her costumes for practicality, and advocated for a more active heroine. Other highlights: Watson is a UN Women Goodwill Ambassador, a model, and a prominent voice for equality. Dan Stevens, Beast, 2017. Background: a British actor, Stevens rose to fame in Downton Abbey and the series Legion. Transformational role: he performed the Beast on stilts in a motion capture suit, later providing the singing voice for Evermore. Other roles: Stevens is known for versatility, moving between drama, comedy, and voice work. Luke Evans, Gaston, 2017. Background: Evans' roots are in musical theater with major roles in Les Miserables and The Hobbit trilogy. What he brought: his Gaston was both charming and menacing, with powerful vocals and comedic timing. Josh Gad, LeFou, 2017, and Others Gad. Already beloved as Olaf in Frozen, Gad made LeFou more nuanced and sympathetic. Ewan McGregor, Ian McKellen, Emma Thompson. The enchanted objects were brought to life by some of Britain's greatest actors, each infusing humor, heart, and musicality. Conclusion: why these characters endure the magic of Beauty and the Beast is in the details. The layered writing, the human flaws and strengths, and the unforgettable performances that made these characters leap from the screen. Whether animated or live action, these roles have inspired audiences to look deeper, hope bigger, and believe in happily ever after. Want more? Next up, let's dive into supporting cast shoutouts, actor chemistry, and the real-life friendships that made the fairy tale feel real. Don't forget to subscribe, movie buddies. The heart of Beauty and the Beast lies in the evolving relationship between Belle and the Beast. Their dynamic is built on gradual trust, real tension, and ultimately, profound mutual respect. Initial tension and growth. The early scenes between Belle and Beast are charged with misunderstanding and clashing personalities. Belle's intelligence and fierce independence challenge the Beast's gruff, impatient demeanor. Their arguments, Belle refusing to dine, the Beast's frustrated attempts at hospitality, highlight the deep rift between their worlds. This friction is key. It prevents their connection from feeling forced and lays the groundwork for believable change. Moments of vulnerability. Crucial turning points in their relationship come from shared vulnerability. After Belle flees and the Beast saves her from wolves, they begin to let their guards down. The Beast's injury reveals his softer side, while Belle's kindness in tending to him marks the start of genuine empathy. They begin to share. The Beast offers Belle his library, a symbol of seeing her as an equal and understanding her passions. Belle, in turn, sees the Beast's pain and isolation. Developing affection. As they read together, share meals, and laugh at the antics of the enchanted objects, the barriers between them dissolve. Their iconic ballroom dance isn't just a romantic set piece. It's the culmination of earned affection, built on day-to-day acts of respect and care. The chemistry is palpable not because of magical fate, but because both characters have chosen to grow and chosen each other. Emotional payoff. The story's emotional climax, Belle's confession of love as the Beast is dying, lands with power precisely because the relationship has been so hard-won. Their journey from animosity to understanding to love is layered, believable, and deeply moving. In both the animated film, Paige O'Hara and Robbie Benson, and live-action adaptation, Emma Watson and Dan Stevens, the actors' performances sell every beat of this transformation, making the romance resonate across generations. Supporting cast shoutouts. Standout role Lumiere, the suave and charismatic candelabra, is the castle's eternal optimist. His flair for showmanship is on full display in Be Our Guest, where he transforms a simple meal into a Broadway spectacle. Lumiere's warm-hearted matchmaking and can-do attitude bring energy and hope to every scene, making him indispensable, both to the castle's spirit and to Belle and the Beast's blossoming relationship. Animated, Jerry Orbach brings Lumiere to life with wit and musicality, crafting an instantly iconic character. Live action. Ewan McGregor steps into the role, blending French charm with lively humor and stellar vocals. Cogsworth, the tightly wound mantel clock, is Lumiere's ever-anxious counterpart. Where Lumiere is flamboyant, Cogsworth is meticulous, always worrying about rules, appearances, and keeping order in the castle. His dry humor and escalating panic in moments of chaos provide comic relief and highlight the absurdity of their enchanted predicament. He is ultimately loyal and brave, despite his fussiness. Animated, David Ogden Stiers delivers a masterful blend of exasperation and heart. Live action, Sir Ian McKellen embodies Cogsworth with gravitas and sly wit. Mrs. Potts, the maternal teapot, is the castle's nurturing soul. She comforts Belle, counsels the Beast, and holds the household together with warmth and wisdom. Her gentle rendition of Beauty and the Beast underscores the film's most iconic moment, and her relationship with Chip provides emotional grounding. Animated, Angela Lansbury's performance is legendary. Her vocals for the title song are universally beloved. Live action, Emma Thompson steps into the role with grace and gentle humor. LeFou, Gaston's loyal sidekick, is the source of much of the film's physical and verbal comedy. Originally a bumbling comic foil, the character gains added nuance in the live-action version, where his loyalty is tested and he experiences his own journey toward self-awareness. Animated. Jesse Corti provides energetic, comedic voice work. Live-action. JoshG updates LeFou as a more sympathetic, self-reflective character, bringing both laughs and heart. Other standouts. Chip, the eternally curious teacup, voiced by Bradley Pierce, animated, and Nathan Mack, live-action, adds innocence and lightness to the story. Wardrobe, Madame de la Grande Bouche, loud, flamboyant, and endearing, adding dramatic flair to key scenes. Plumette, Lumiere's feather duster partner, charming in both animated and live-action versions. Behind-the-scenes moments, off-screen, stories, interviews, viral cast memories, animated film. Paige O'Hara and Robbie Benson recorded several scenes together to capture a natural, emotional rhythm, rare for Disney animation at the time. Their collaboration led to a real connection, helping to ground Belle and Beast's relationship in authenticity. Jerry Orbach, Lumiere, improvised lines and added musical flourishes that weren't in the original script, influencing both the writing and animation. His Baroque joke and French-accented ad-libs became part of Lumiere's DNA. Angela Lansbury initially thought she wasn't the right fit to sing the title track. Alan Menken encouraged her to try it in her own style, and her legendary one-take performance moved the entire studio team to tears. The story is now a famous Disney legend. Live-action film Emma Watson advocated for Belle's independence, requesting practical costume changes and insisting on scenes where Belle invents and repairs gadgets. She worked closely with the screenwriters to give Belle a more active role. Dan Stevens spent months training to move on stilts for the Beast's height. He also wore a full motion capture suit, acting much of the film's emotional scenes in a gray leotard while delivering lines and facial expressions for digital animation reference. Ewan McGregor and Ian McKellen, Lumiere and Cogsworth, shared numerous on-set jokes and friendly jabs, resulting in a real-life friendship that translated into their on-screen banter. Their improvisation added layers to their characters' chemistry. Josh Gad and Luke Evans, LeFou and Gaston, performed much of their comedic dialogue through improvisation, building on their natural chemistry from rehearsals. Gad's ad-libs and Evans' reactions made the Gaston number especially lively and authentic. Emma Thompson, Mrs. Potts, contributed character suggestions and playful humor on set. She reportedly entertained the cast between takes, helping the group bond during long shoots. Behind the scenes, cast and crew would stage impromptu sing-alongs of Disney classics, fostering camaraderie and keeping spirits high during the demanding filming schedule. Viral moments and legacy. The cast's behind-the-scenes stories, like Watson and Stevens dancing off-camera in mocap gear, or the actors attending fan conventions in costume, became viral hits online, generating excitement for the film's release. Numerous interviews highlighted the mutual respect and collaborative spirit among the cast, with Emma Watson and Dan Stevens both speaking about the responsibility they felt in updating such beloved characters. Subscribe, Movie Buddies, and tell your buddy what your favorite part was. Lasting impression. Why does Beauty and the Beast endure? Across generations. Universal storytelling. Beauty and the Beast endures because it tells a universal story about the power of transformation, one that transcends age, culture, and background. The film's central themes, looking beyond appearances, embracing change, and choosing kindness, are as relevant today as when the original fairy tale was penned in 18th century France. Each new generation finds its own meaning in Belle's journey and the Beast's redemption. Emotional depth. The film's emotional core is both simple and profound. It depicts loneliness, longing, and hope with authenticity. Belle's sense of being different resonates with anyone who has ever felt like an outsider, while the Beast's struggle for forgiveness and love speaks to the fear and hope at the heart of every human experience. The story offers catharsis. It recognizes our wounds and promises healing is possible. Timeless characters. Belle and the Beast are more than archetypes. They are nuanced, flawed, and real, brought to life by performances that honor their complexity. Belle's courage, curiosity, and compassion set a standard for Disney heroines and inspired countless viewers to value intellect and empathy over conformity. The Beast's journey from prideful anger to selfless love shows that true change is possible when we open ourselves to others. Spectacle and craft. The artistry of both the animated and live-action films keeps audiences returning. The visuals, the golden ballroom, the enchanted rose, the gloomy yet hopeful castle, are indelible images. Alan Menken's sweeping score, paired with Howard Ashman's and Tim Rice's lyrics, create songs that linger for a lifetime. These musical moments are more than catchy. They're emotional anchors for the story's biggest revelations. Cultural impact. Beauty and the Beast permanently altered the landscape of animated cinema. It proved that animated films could earn critical respect, box office success, and industry awards, opening doors for future classics. The film also broadened the range of what a Disney heroine could be, paving the way for more complex, active female leads. Its messages have been referenced in everything from academic essays to TikTok trends, ensuring its presence in both scholarly and popular conversations. Adaptability. The story's adaptability has helped it remain fresh. From the original 1991 film to the 2017 live-action remake, from Broadway to ice shows and viral online parodies, each retelling brings new perspectives while preserving the core message: love changes us. This flexibility allows each generation to see themselves reflected in the story, keeping the magic alive. Life lessons and emotional takeaways. True beauty is within. The most obvious lesson, but one never outgrown: appearances can deceive. Is compassion, humility, and empathy that define real beauty. This message challenges a world obsessed with surface-level judgment. Change takes courage. Transformation is central, not just for the Beast, but for every character. Real change isn't easy or instant. It takes vulnerability, sacrifice, and the willingness to face our own flaws. Forgiveness heals. Forgiveness of others and ourselves runs through every plotline. The Beast's journey is a plea for self-forgiveness and the courage to move beyond past mistakes. Belle's kindness and willingness to forgive transforms everyone around her. Stand up for yourself and others. Belle is a role model for speaking out, questioning injustice, and refusing to settle. Her independence is not rebellion for its own sake, but a belief in her own worth and a willingness to fight for those she loves. Hope in darkness. The enchanted rose symbolizes the fragility of hope, but also its resilience. Even when time seems to be running out, or when loneliness and despair threaten to overwhelm, the story insists that hope can be renewed. Community and belonging. From the castle's cursed servants to the misfits in Belle's village, Beauty and the Beast highlights the human need for connection. The happy ending isn't just for the romantic leads, but for everyone who finds their place in a world that once rejected them. Love demands sacrifice. The love story is not about possession, but about putting another's needs first. The Beast's willingness to let Belle go, and Belle's readiness to risk everything to save her father, demonstrate that love is a verb, an act of giving and trust. Redemption is always possible. No character is too far gone to be redeemed. The narrative's faith in second chances is a source of comfort and inspiration to viewers facing their own struggles. Legacy. Beauty and the Beast's legacy is measured in more than just box office numbers or critical accolades. It's found in generations of moviegoers who discovered empathy, courage, and wonder through its story. Its songs are sung at weddings and school plays. Its lessons echo in daily acts of kindness and in the stories we tell to make sense of ourselves. The film endures because it speaks to the best in us and reminds us that, no matter how the world may judge us, we are worthy of love and transformation. Subscribe, Movie Buddies, and tell your buddy what your favorite part was. Beauty and the Beast is not just a classic, it's a living, evolving phenomenon, one that continues to inspire new generations and collectors around the world. Continued legacy. The story's timeless appeal ensures it will remain a fixture in Disney's brand for decades. The original film is a staple on Disney+, and the live-action remake frequently resurges in popularity thanks to streaming marathons, sing-alongs, and themed events at Disney parks. Expect Beauty and the Beast to remain a mainstay of Disney's global marketing and family entertainment strategy, with regular merchandise releases, remastered editions, and anniversary celebrations keeping it fresh in popular culture. Future. Adaptations. Television spin-offs. Disney has announced plans for a Beauty and the Beast prequel series focusing on Gaston and Le Fou, diving into their backstories and the mythology of the Enchanted Castle's world, Broadway and beyond. The musical continues to tour worldwide and is frequently revived in major cities and schools. Expect more immersive theater, interactive experiences, and possibly even a new Broadway run with updated effects and cast. Animated. Spin-offs. With Disney's emphasis on streaming, new animated shorts or specials featuring Belle, Beast, or the castle staff are likely, perhaps diving into side stories or what-if scenarios, appealing to nostalgic adults and young kids alike. Reinterpretations. The story's themes and characters are so universal that they invite endless reimagining. Expect everything from modernized movie versions to bold reinterpretations, e.g., live television musicals, international remakes, and even graphic novels. Collectibles. Merchandise. Belle's yellow gown, the enchanted rose, and the Beast's castle remain bestsellers in Disney stores and online marketplaces. Limited edition dolls, snow globes, figurines, and artwork consistently sell out, with collectors eager to own a piece of the magic. Vintage VHS and art prints, first edition VHS tapes, original animation cells, and signed prints are highly sought after by collectors, commanding premium prices at auction and fan conventions. Theme park attractions. Be Our Guest, restaurants and meet and greets will keep the experience alive for future generations. Expect further expansions, augmented reality experiences, and new rides inspired by the film's iconic scenes. Fan. Theories and comments. Compelling and funny. Viewer theories Beauty and the Beast inspires a rich landscape of fan theories. Some thoughtful, some tongue-in-cheek, all part of the film's living legacy, the Enchanted Castle's timeline. Some fans debate the exact duration of the curse. Is the Beast actually in his early 20s, or has the castle existed in magical limbo for decades? Details like Chip's age and the villagers' fading memories fuel endless speculation. The village's amnesia. A popular theory is that the entire village was enchanted, explaining why nobody seems to remember the castle or its inhabitants. This adds a layer of tragedy and magic to the curse's reach. Gaston's fate. Some fans suggest Gaston survived his fall and could return as a redeemed character in future spin-offs, while others enjoy imagining him as the ghost haunting the castle's west wing. Mrs. Potts' many children. With only Chip prominent among the teacups, some joke that Mrs. Potts has a dozen forgotten kids, an idea that's inspired countless memes and parodies. Belle's book, Fans Love. To debate which far-off places, daring sword fights, magic spells, a prince in disguise, book Belle is actually reading in the opening scene. Theories range from Sleeping Beauty to meta-references about her own story. These theories, along with ongoing social media memes and TikTok trends, keep Beauty and the Beast alive in online discourse, proving that true fairy tales never really end. Wrap-up. If you haven't seen it, here's why you should. Beauty and the Beast is more than a fairy tale. It's a lesson in empathy, a masterclass in animation and music, and a reminder that courage, kindness, and transformation are possible for everyone. If you've never experienced its sweeping visuals, unforgettable songs, or the emotional journey of Belle and the Beast, you owe it to yourself to see why this tale as old as time continues to move audiences of all ages. It's a story for the dreamers, the outcasts, and the hopeful, a celebration of love's power to heal, redeem, and change the world. Whether you watch the classic animation, the lush live-action remake, or a stage production, you're guaranteed to find something timeless and true. The ballroom scene alone is worth the price of admission, and you'll carry its message. Real beauty is found within, long after the credits roll. Credits roll, shout out to creators, cast, and a thank you to the visionaries, Walt Disney and the original animation team for believing in fairy tales with heart and innovation. Gary Trousdale and Kirk Wise, directors of the 1991 classic. Howard Ashman and Alan Menken, for songs that live forever. Linda Wolverton, for a screenplay that made Belle unforgettable. To the cast, Paige O'Hara, Robbie Benson, Angela Lansbury, Jerry Orbach, David Ogden Stiers, Richard White, the voices that became legends. Emma Watson, Dan Stevens, Luke Evans, Josh Gad, Emma Thompson, Ewan McGregor, Ian McKellen, the live-action cast who brought new energy to every role. To the musicians, animators, choreographers, designers, your artistry built a world millions love. To the fans, every kid who dreamed of adventure, every cosplayer in a yellow dress, every artist and singer and dreamer who keeps the magic alive. Subscribe, Movie Buddies, and tell your buddy what your favorite part was.